everybody. I swear I'm gonna start all of the interviews with me doing this. Welcome everybody. Welcome chat. I'm gonna quickly check in who's chat right now. Hi.
Hi, chat.
I believe we've got hosting from Icy herself. So if you're in from Icy's community, welcome. It's very lovely to have you here. So we're kicking off our creator interviews this week with Icy. Her handles are underneath her face over there.
Yep, that's me.
As you would have seen at the top of the stream, I would have just played the GWP Academy Marketplace trailer. So for those of you that aren't familiar, we're about to launch a creator marketplace in early June. So if you haven't gone and reserved your handle, please go and do that. We've already got some deals, well, a deal at least open now, and we're looking for content creators to get involved in that. So as soon as you get your handle done, as soon as that gets reserved and confirmed, go into our Discord community, go and check that out. Come say hi. But we're really excited to be launching that marketplace very soon. And without further ado, I'd love to let you guys meet Icy. Icy, give us a quick intro about yourself as a content creator.
Hi, I'm Icy. I've been a content creator, I guess, for sort of about 4 years. I'm very part-time because I've got a job and a family and a whole sort of thing. So it's streaming for me, and for that matter, YouTube is all about part-time for me. It's about something I love and enjoy and dearly enjoy doing, but I know it's only this much of my life as opposed to being able to make it a full-time thing. And that's okay. But no, I started out on making sort of videos on YouTube about the Elder Scrolls Online. That was pretty much where I started. Initially, very early on, I was streaming to both YouTube and to Twitch because I had already established a couple of hundred followers on YouTube. It seemed like the best idea. But I probably started streaming about 3 years ago, I think.
Somewhere around there.
Could have looked up dates before now. And then once I'd made affiliate, at that point I just said, right, okay, no, certainly Twitch was the only real place to stream if you wanted to make any kind of money at all. So at that point I went, stopped streaming on YouTube, though I still have regular videos over there that are published, and basically just started streaming on Twitch. So I stream 4 days a week. So I stream Saturday and Sunday afternoons Australian time. And then I'm part-time for work as well. So I stream basically Mondays and Tuesdays, sort of between 9:30 to 3, sort of in that kind of middle chunk. And hence my community is mostly, there's a good chunk of Australians there, but the majority of my community are sort of from America and England and Europe and that kind of place as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting to know, especially in terms of the difference in schedule and how that translates to the audience that you have. Do you find that they usually self-identify as being from those places, and they're usually like quite proud to let you know that?
Yeah, it's more, it's kind of the other way around, is that I'm the novelty. Sort of with the...
Tell us more about this place down under.
Yes. Oh, yes. There's kind of like this sort of running joke that, all Australians are like just paid actors to show, that we really do exist as a country. All people, enjoy listening to my accent. So I would say that if you're an Australian and you can stream at those times, it is absolutely the exoticism of being a white Australian can be used to your advantage. And you can, it's just one of those things. I find it fascinating anyway to chat with the people in my stream to see the differences between the two countries, like between here and any other country as well. It's like, oh, you do it this way. Oh, really? Really? So even though, we share a lot of things are the same, there's still some surprising differences. So
I think there's a lot of novel things that even to this day, I assume that people know it about Australia, but it's definitely like it's only here situation, even to the point where, for those of you who know Fid's on the team, Fid and I worked together before, we always have like Australia versus New Zealand jabs. And there are things that are like very isolated to both countries, even if you have communication between both that are just like, why? One of them is Sangha. I don't know if you've had to explain that to your audience before, but that is a great example. They don't do Sangha outside of Australia or New Zealand much.
Oh,
I know. Okay. You can bring that to your next stream, and then you can ask them. And it'll be 10 minutes of conversation about Sanghas. And then you have to explain like ice cream Sanghas, and it's a whole thing.
Wait, an ice
Okay, we'll take this off the interview, but I want you to trial that in your stream and see what happens.
Look, I had fairy bread for lunch today and I had to explain to the stream exactly what fairy bread was and how important it was to a full, like an actual proper meal.
Yes, it is.
So, we get deep into the Australianisms. So.
Oh, this is like its own. Okay, if we could have free reign on our Twitter spaces on the GGWP Academy, we're always focused on creator education and training. But if we could have like one free for all, it would probably just be like Australianisms, considering GGWP is founded in Australia. That's a whole other topic.
It should. Totally. It's like required learning for any, if you don't already have this cultural input, you need to learn this stuff. So no, I do. Yeah. It's quite interesting actually, because there's quite a number of people from New Zealand who watch as well. And it's very much Australia, New Zealand educating the rest of the world. So we're doing it together.
But that cultural exchange is always like, it's interesting to think that, yes, we're looking at someone who's playing through a game, but the exchange of ideas, the exchange of culture, it sounds like that seems to be a really good proponent of what your content is about. And it's like conversation rather than just that gameplay in front of you.
Yeah, I for me, absolutely. I would think the gameplay, it's really is. It's a framework, I guess, for conversation to happen. We can start with the game, but really it's about chatting and seeing who people are who are watching the stream, explaining who I am, what I like. There are times when I very much focus on the game itself. But I mean, I'm the kind of person who does like to explain.
Yes.
Usually I will ask, do you want me to explain this to you?
At least you ask.
I do. I often do. But yeah, so for example, or even if I'm doing content within the game. So I play the Elder Scrolls Online, which is an MMO. I've been playing since it launched. So I have high level characters and I know the game quite well. I wouldn't say I was top, but I do run a bunch of end game content. And so one of the things I do when I'm running that end game content is actually explaining what I'm doing while I'm running it. So, and also because I would classify myself as not an elite player. I'm good, I'm fine, but I'm kind of at a level where I still struggle for some of the very hardest content. But yeah, I'm quite good at explaining things. So I do take that as an opportunity to actually teach people about some of the things, extra sort of high level stuff that they can do in the game. Plus, I'm always open for new people or anybody to ask me questions about the things I'm playing.
Yeah.
Always happy to sort of share information or share advice or give people tips about what to do, which is then also reflected over on the YouTube channel, so that I usually make sort of at least one day a week, I release a video that's on some aspect of ESO that explains something for new users or old users or goes into some of the new content that's coming, funnily enough, next week. So
Tell me more.
all of those sorts of things. Yeah, that's my plan. So
yeah, it like I don't think you need to be an elite player. It sounds almost like you could categorize them separately, especially if you start looking at, esports pros, speedrunners, those top elite guys. I don't know if they necessarily have the the time frame to do the deep dives, it sounds like you're describing, so it's almost a different category. But what kind of inspired you to go through that kind of explainer style of content in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that's really just me. I think I very much enjoy teaching people how to do something.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a teacher, but if I have a skill about something, I'm really happy to share that with other people. I mean, and it doesn't have to be about the game I'm playing. You know, somebody jumped into the stream the other day and asked, so normally in my stream, I have like a circular overlay on my camera, and somebody jumped into the stream the other day and said, oh, how do you do that? And it's like, oh, let me show you how. And, you know, I sort of opened up OBS and moved it into the live screen and like went through it, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm always happy to share the knowledge that I've picked up with other people. And I think I'm fairly good at that. Certainly people have said that was, you know, has been helpful and that they've learned a lot about things. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see Dark Willow's asking in chat, would you say you're an educator? Not a teacher. I think educator is different, especially when it comes to you know, non-school type things.
Hello, Dark Willow. I would say that. Yeah, I would say I was an educator to some extent. To some extent, yes, definitely. So, yeah, I think that's fair. One of the things I used to do very regularly was I used to teach. So in Elder Scrolls Online, a trial is one of the 12-person content where 12 people go into basically a big dungeon and kill the bosses. But they're very technical and there are a lot of mechanics to learn and there are a lot of roles. And that is one thing that I very much have enjoyed doing in the past, is taking brand new players who maybe have never experienced a trial before. And where that content might usually, and perhaps in other games as well, is locked away from new players and can be really an intimidating thing to go into. One of the most rewarding things I've ever done in the game is actually to take brand new players who've got all, you know, who are at a level to do the content, but maybe not the confidence to do it or the knowledge to actually take them in and teach them what to do. And also to make it in a way that's non-stressful for them. So in a place where they can feel safe to both learn and make mistakes and not jeopardize the group. Unlike, you know, like
if you just went in.
If you just went in or you jumped into a pickup group and you don't know what the raid leader's like or the rest of the team, are they going to like laugh at you or that because you don't know what to do? Because of course
you laugh at other people. That's mean.
No. All you know, like there's these
the whole thing.
elite players. Sometimes you can get the most delightful people, but you know, it's an online game. Sometimes there are people in many, and this is all games. It's not just the Elder Scrolls Online, but there's always people who have to show how elite they are and cannot take the time to teach you. But that was something I wanted to do. Like, yes, a guy called Cedric started a guild that was designed to give people a safe space to learn. And that was where I started doing trials. And then he asked, do you want to lead these? And I was like, I am nervous, but yes, I absolutely want to lead these and teach people. And that I did that for probably 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Yeah, for quite a while, 2 years, I think, probably. So at the moment, that guild is kind of like dissolved because
life,
but also I'm not the person to run a guild. That's not me.
It's an extra commitment. And I don't know if whoever was running the guild was also doing part-time content creation, but
he was a little bit to start with. It's too much. Yeah. So I'm just running a veteran trial group at the moment. So, but yeah, it's still really satisfying. We're doing very challenging content and learning how to do it. So
So it sounds like you're less of the usual type of variety streamer where you're jumping from game to game, and there's this deep dive component. In terms of thinking about, you mentioned before that you're playing Mass Effect now. When you're thinking about switches between games, what factors go into it for you in terms of what you choose to create content about or what you choose to stream?
Yeah, so for me, it's 100% because I'm not trying to become full-time, and I'm not trying to make a living from this, and I'm just trying to enjoy my time and maybe give the people who are watching something extra. I'm picking something that I enjoy. So I would say if that you're starting out streaming, you are better to pick a game that has a friendly community. You're better to hang out in the communities in that game, watch other people's streams, chat, be known as a streamer, but not, like, no, where people saying, don't jump into streams and say, I have to go now, I'm starting my stream. No, like, they're for real, that's not good. But jump in, be friendly, say hi. If they get to know you and they're looking for someone to host, they see your name and it's like, oh, I didn't know such and such streamed. Great, I'll host them. So make connections first, then afterwards. But it is 100%. I would say you need a community, and your community, you need basically a group of people who know each other, who can host around to each other to build a community. The easiest way to do that is in a game where you can connect with other people. And if you're in the one game, but a decent community that are nice and you can connect, that's the way to go. MMOs are good for that. And the other thing about an MMO is especially if you're running like a chatty stream, I guess, is that you don't have to focus on what you're doing a lot. You can just be running around, you can be farming, or you can be doing crafting stuff, or you can just be doing some dungeons, or you can be grinding, you can be doing anything. There's a lot of opportunity to just be doing casual content, like casual stream stuff, and then chatting with your audience. Though also, if you're the kind of person who is the top of their game, there's opportunity for that in MMOs as well. So to sort of do that kind of content as well.
Yeah. I'd say given the kind of trends around MMOs that I've seen on Twitch and other platforms as well, MMOs themselves seem to be a really good platform for deciding or working on the kind of content you actually want to create. One example being like GTA RP and its popularity right now. And that's an MMO, but then people are taking it a very interesting direction, going RP.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Certainly there are some RP communities in ESO.
Oh, really?
But they're not. Oh, there are. Yeah, but it's not streamed to my knowledge. Not really. It's very much we're RP first kind of thing. So one of the fun things to do in Elder Scrolls at the moment, and they're sort of becoming more and more kind of growing, is actually the house building. So the house creation content, the housing manses, that's quite big. So that's something, and it's also something people can drop in and do. And once again, make something, create something, but also be able to pay attention to chat as well. So
yeah, I'm just waiting for ESO cribs. If it hasn't happened, just because I said it now, it's going to magically happen.
There's definitely there's a bunch of that kind of stuff going on. No, there's a couple of streamers who focus on that. There's a couple who run some of the big trading guilds. One particular partner streamer who actually we'll do house tours. People submit their houses and he'll come and do it on like a Saturday. He'll come around and tour your house. So they're incredible.
Oh, really?
Absolutely incredible. Amazing.
Oh, that's great. I know this is a really interesting conversation in terms of thinking about your perspective as someone who does this part-time and also works part-time. How have you kind of figured out the right balance between the different priorities in your life and streaming in terms of where you're currently at in life? And was it challenging to sort it out when you first started? What was that kind of process like when you were figuring that balancing?
Yeah. No, that's fair. I would imagine I fall into a slightly different category than anyone, maybe most other streamers. So I'm married, I have 2 kids and I have a job. And my daughter has a medical condition, which sort of means that often It's much better now, but often late at night we'll have to get up to check her regularly, which leaves me and my husband just so tired all the time for a long time. Hence the part-time, to basically give me time to recover. I would stream if I could make a living streaming. I would make a living streaming. I love it. I love it so much. So, which is why I stream basically as much as I can manage. But as a consequence of, basically all of the other family responsibilities and being tired, it's why I also don't stream at nighttime. I'm additionally actually not particularly social. I can
welcome
fake,
introverts. Welcome.
Welcome in. I can fake some level of extroversion, and I can do it on a stream quite well, but there's only this much capacity. And during a stream, it goes down like this. And when it hits evening time, there's not a lot left. I'm faking it really well right now. But, and also because you're running this, Fran.
Yes.
I'm responding to your questions. So I'm not actually having to kind of
drive the conversation.
I'm not having to drive the conversation, generate it. So I have tried every so often to stream it in the evenings as well, but it doesn't last long. I look forward to streaming during the days. I genuinely miss when I have to miss a stream because of life or whatever. I'm like, it's like I'm bummed out. Like it's like, damn it. I really wanted to stream today, but I can't because doctor's appointment or whatever. Life. But when it gets to the evening one, it's like, oh, God, I should stream. That's completely different. So hence I kind of went, oh, actually, if I try to do it at night as well, I'll burn myself out. So instead, I basically stream as much as I can and enjoy those streams. So, and I do. I love it.
Would you say, in terms of general advice then for anyone starting out, they need to think about when they're, I like to call it like the emotional tank. And then usually you have like different parts of the day where your tank is more full. Would you say that like you'd encourage people to try and go for that high energy point for streaming? Because it depends on what style you're going for. But obviously when you're on camera, as we're doing right now, you kind of have to exert some of that energy to your audience. So what are your thoughts on that kind of keeping that
I would
in consideration?
say yes, but I have the flexibility to be able to stream in the daytime on a Monday and Tuesday. And if I wasn't part-time working, that wouldn't be an option. So I actually, I don't know whether, I would stream Saturday and Sunday, but I don't know whether I would, if I didn't have the Monday and Tuesday, I don't know if I would actually stream in the evenings or not. It's quite interesting. It's like, it's just genuinely, my energy levels and my ability to kind of like turn on
the switch
is, it's very much not there in the evenings, even to the extent where I won't go into like a group, like a guild Discord or something, like a voice thing, unless I know there is a friend in there already that I can chat to specifically. If there's strangers in a Discord, it's like, no, not even. So I would say yes, but your own personal circumstances will dictate whether you might need to push through in a time where you feel less comfortable. The other thing I'd say is, as you'll get better at streaming, as you get more confident in your skills, as you get more confident to manage basically strangers coming into your chat, that it requires less emotional effort.
Okay.
So, because like that was, way early on, back on the YouTube side, actually, I was streaming. There was I was the viewer, as you do. And somebody jumped into the chat and basically dropped a whole heap of like offensive content that they'd obviously crafted really specifically to bypass any possible blocking filters, like automatic blocks. And I was like, and I didn't, it was a shock and I didn't know what to do. And it's like, it was a lesson. And then I basically set up a whole heap of ridiculously strict stuff because it was like, okay, I never want to deal with that again. But I now feel confident if somebody comes into my stream and says something racist, sexist, ageist, that I can handle them effectively, and basically boot them. I would say the other thing is you will feel comfortable streaming if you know that your space that you're creating is good for you. So don't suffer trolls. Just kick them out like immediately. You're basically inviting people into your living room.
Yeah.
Who do you want to invite in? And the other, if you're inviting sorry, PG stream. If you're inviting, pretty much. Think about who you're inviting, and if your living room is filled with offensive idiots, that means the nice people are not coming in because they look at and see who else is in the living room and go, "Oh, this is no." Streamer seems nice, but the company here is no good.
Yeah.
So do think about that as think about the community that you're curating, whether it's a community or not, or people just kind of hanging out and stuff, or even if you're a streamer that's not interacting much, perhaps you're just showing your skill, still think about the people who are there, and whether they're people you'd like to invite into your house. So.
Yes. To our viewers, welcome to this house. I need like an overlay when people just talk about like really good communities that just says mods, like right here. I'll figure out if I can just mods.
Yeah. Finding somebody who can mod for you is good. I'm a terrible person at asking people for help. So asking somebody to be a mod for me has always been really hard.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, oh yeah, but I'm giving you a job and you're here to have fun. And I'm not. Oh, okay, that feels weird. That's on me. That is 100% on me, and that's just something that I need to get over. But it is, it's definitely a thing. You should have your mods, and they should have the powers that they need in order to. And everybody's communities are different.
Yes, definitely.
So one thing I would say is, like my community is, I'm very like, I would say it is stricter than many other communities would appreciate, but that's okay. It's a space that I've created that I feel comfortable in, and that I think also that many people can feel comfortable in, even if it's not as permissive as other communities. But that's okay. That's fine. Everybody's still nice. And if you're looking for somewhere that is a bit more risque, then I have a bunch of friends that I can point you to.
Yes.
Whose communities will suit you as well, kind of thing. So, my community is quite tame.
I don't know. There's difference between tame and a safe space, and I'd say it's almost a bigger challenge to create the kind of community that you've built up because, again, just general Twitch trends, swearing, and the usual edgy stuff is the norm. So.
There's a once a week stream for a couple of hours where I'm doing some extremely hard solo content. I put a swear warning on that stream. That is the one. But that's, but still, there's not a lot of innuendo that happens in my stream, basically. Yeah. So, yeah, but that's okay.
But that kind of curation, that level of curation, I think, is more challenging because you have to. It seems more difficult to be strict rather than to be more free flow.
Yeah, I think.
But it's your style.
It's just my style. That's okay, and that's actually one of the things that I think is amazing about Twitch, and for that matter, YouTube, is. Gosh, I'm actually quite old. So, but if you think back,
you take that back.
No.
Then you're saying I'm old. I'm okay. I'm
No,
almost
no,
30.
no.
I look like a 12-year-old. I'm almost 30. Sound like a 12-year-old.
Okay, so
30.
I'm like more than 15 years older than you. There you go.
We were talking
So
before the interview about how like I don't know if we've both been watching YouTube for 15 years. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. So, but it's one of the things that's actually it's allowed many people to have their interests catered to. Like my husband watches YouTube videos of people like blacksmiths, like making stuff in their backyards. And it's like there is never going to be a TV show about home blacksmiths.
But
And
there
there
would be a
was
Twitch
never
for
well,
it.
actually, sorry, I take that back. There is actually one now. But
Okay.
sorry, in general,
Yeah.
it's a small audience in Australia. Maybe, a couple of hundred people in Australia. But in the world, there's 100,000 people in the world who really enjoy this kind of content. So that broadening, the broadening of scope has allowed the niches to get big enough that there's always something for everyone. So I guess that's one thing I'd say is find your niche. Don't be afraid to make a niche. It might take a while, but you will attract eventually somebody or lots of people who are looking for that little space that fits them.
Yeah.
So, and it also differentiates you from other people as well. So, sure, stream a game, like be part of that game's community.
Yeah.
But maybe offer your own twist on that game. So you still can attract everybody who's interested in that game, but then you can actually pull out that subset of people who are like, oh, that person's got the same idea about this as I do. And you can actually kind of gather them together and bring that to your channel. So
yeah, that's an excellent tip. And I think that applies whether you're part-time, full-time, or any time. And it's easy to say, but it takes effort to execute. So your point about it being patient and it taking time is definitely important.
yes.
Before we wrap up, I feel like you've kind of answered this in a few different ways, but I want to give you a chance to answer it if you had a different thought in mind. But for anyone who's in a very like similar scenario to you, where they'd like to go full time, but they're trying to make the most of the time they have available, what would be your biggest piece of advice for those people who are trying to carve out their space as a content creator themselves?
I think, okay, so interestingly, it actually comes down to a schedule. So mostly when people start streaming, it's like set a schedule. So people know when you're coming and they know when to come and watch you. But actually, the schedule's for you.
Yeah.
The schedule is so for you to block out time out of your week, out of your day. So okay, this time to this time, that's my time. And hold on to it fiercely. Don't let that my time just be frittered away for other projects, the cleaning, the cooking, whatever. When you schedule that time, use it for streaming. If you're not using it for streaming because there's some reason that you physically cannot be on camera, then use it for things for developing your stream. Make some emotes, do some research, do something else, but block that time out for yourself. And use that time for yourself. If you're a parent, male or female, blocking time out for you, not kids, can be really difficult and can be really challenging. My kids are getting older now, so it's become more and more easy for me to go, no, off you go, go do something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, both my husband and I, it's kind of like, okay, right, you've got this bit, I've got this bit, and these are our times and they're not kid times. So
respect those times when you do set that schedule.
Yeah, respect it for yourself. And the other thing I'd say is pay attention to your own behavior as well. If you get to the stage where you're going, you keep giving up the time for some other project.
Yeah.
If you are feeling that, I should stream, but actually I want to do blah, pay attention to those feelings in yourself. Are you telling yourself, oh, actually it's not working now? I'm too tired. I don't have the concentration. Okay, I need to do some other more boring thing in the evenings, and I need to try and stream on the weekend instead. Or pay attention to what you're telling yourself as well. So
Yeah.
I would say if you're not enjoying streaming, if you don't look forward to turning on the camera or the mic at least, even if you're not using a camera. What could you do else that brings you joy instead? And the other thing I'd say is not everybody. I did not stream for a long time, a couple of years even after the YouTube, year two, because I was genuinely not confident of my ability to deal with people live.
Yeah.
So I ran a YouTube channel instead because that way I could do the content creation. I did long form Let's Plays. I would talk into the camera for, an hour while playing something or other and then upload it. And then I would deal with comments instead. But it's not like a one-to-one exchange.
Yeah.
So if you really want to share stuff, but you're finding the interaction of Twitch a problem for yourself, go YouTube. Totally.
Great. All fantastic advice. Again, I know the schedule is I went from the context of someone who's doing part-time, but I still think that applies for someone full-time because that kind of balance between working as a content creator is still going to be important too, because if all you do is content creation as a full-time and nothing else, then it's going to throw it all out of whack.
And I would say also every so often I think it's most important as a full-time, but even as a part-time, every so often just take some time out to think about your stream, to think about your overlays, to think about your presentation, to think about improvements you could make, to think about, like where you're going, what you're doing, what your goals are. That's actually something that's on the GGWP Academy sort of app as well. It's actually, for
nice
real.
plug.
But to take, I got that in there. That wasn't even planned.
No.
But there is actually a bunch of stuff in there that actually is like about, taking a step back and
assessing.
Even though I'm part-time, I treat streaming as a job. But I get satisfaction from that. So I do every so often take a step back and go, okay, what do the overlays look like? No, they're a bit rough. Actually, I could totally improve that. What if I did this and this and this? And I find that really satisfying as well. So treat your streaming seriously. Enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, work out a different way that you could do content creation that you do enjoy. So
awesome. As much as I would love to keep talking to you for like another 5 hours, I do want to wrap up because I'm aware of both of our tanks. This happens to people who are also juggling many things.
You have a lot of stuff on right now, and I'm impressed that you're managing to do this at all. So
I have a slightly bigger tank. It's just like it's probably taller than me because I'm not that tall. So I can still play off of all of that. But thank you so much for your time and all your advice. It's really good to hear from someone who's got that different perspective from someone who's working part-time, parenting, streaming, the whole shebang. It's a different experience, and I think it's good to bring awareness and exposure to that for sure, and bring confidence to other people who might be doubting themselves because they're like, oh, I can't do that because list, and you're doing it. Thank you so much.
Do it anyway, basically. And thanks, Willow.
Thank you, everybody in chat. Thank you, Dark Willow. I know she gave us like a nice little retweet before this. Thank you for that. We're going to wrap up with the trailer again. Don't forget to reserve your handle. There's already a deal live. If you've got any questions for us, if you need support as a content creator, as Icy mentioned, we have our education app. We're on all the social media. Please come hit us up. We're always here to support content creators. Bye.
Bye.